All right, let's take a look at some vocabulary. What is an arc? What is a chord? An arc is any unbroken section of a circle. So it's any piece of a rim. Let me get a different color here so it stands out. So it's any, again, any unbroken section of the circle. Now notice it's not the piece of pie, but it's the crust on the edge of the piece of pie, if you were thinking about pie, for instance. Okay, so that would be an example of an arc. Okay, here's another example of an arc. So again, it's just a section of the circle, and it's just, again, the outside rim. Now, typically when we name arcs, we do so with the points that they start and end on. So for example, the red one would be arc AB. Notice I have an arc over the letters. That's how we name arcs. The blue one would be arc CD. Okay. Now there are different types of arcs depending on how much of the circle they cover. A minor arc is any arc that covers less than 180 degrees. So notice 180 degrees is halfway around the circle. So any arc that covers less than half of the circle would be considered a minor arc. Okay, so let me draw yet another example of an arc. Okay, so this blue arc here that I've just created, that would be a minor arc. Now the number of degrees they cover is the measure of those arcs. Okay, so let's say that this covered 90 degrees of the full 360 degrees in a circle. Okay, that would be a minor arc. A major arc, on the other hand, is an arc that covers more than 180 degrees. So it covers starting and going around. You go past halfway and continue on. So notice this blue arc covers more than half of the circle. That makes it a major arc. Now with a major arc, we have one thing that's different, and it's the way that we name the arc. The reason we have to make a change there is because notice when we put these points on the circle, we have two arcs there. This part that's empty could be our arc, or the blue part could be our arc, and we just know that we're going from one point to another if we just say the names of the 2 points. So if we said arc AB, we're automatically supposed to assume we're taking the shortest path from A to B, and that would name this part of the circle. So what we do instead when we're dealing with a major arc is we have to have one other point over on this side, and so that we can direct where we're going when we state the name of the arc. We're starting at A, passing through C on the way, and ending at B. So major arcs will have 3 letters in their name. Again, the reason for that is because this middle letter tells you which direction to go to get from A to B. If we just put arc AB, we would be talking about this arc, the shortest path from A to B. But when we put the C in there, it tells us, nope, you need to go the long way and go through C on your way to B. Okay, so major arcs will have 3 letters in their name. Most of the time, minor arcs will only have 2 letters. Major arcs are always going to have 3 letters in their name, so we know to go the long way around the circle instead of the short way. A semicircle is an arc measure of 180 degrees. So it's just a half circle. It goes halfway around the circle. I think we kind of know semicircles. Okay, it's half of the circle. Each circle has, so this would be a semicircle, and the part that's left would be a semicircle, and it measures exactly 180 degrees. Again, one thing you want to have in your notes if you're not familiar with this is that there are 360 degrees in a circle. Okay, so a full circle is 360 degrees. Knowing that is going to be important. Also knowing that then half a circle would be 180 degrees will also be something that's important to know. Okay, so you want to have these in your notes. Again, the basics of an arc. It's a section out of the outside portion of a circle. A minor arc is smaller than half or smaller than 180. A major arc is more than 180 and has 3 letters in its name to tell you to go the long way around. And a semicircle is half a circle or 180 degrees. All right, Here's one application they asked you to make. They want you to find the measure of each angle. Okay, now the angle is the same as our arc measure. If your angle comes from the center of the circle, whatever this angle measure is, your arc measure is the same. Now we talked about how many degrees total are in a circle. How many degrees are in a circle? There are 360 degrees total. So as we have this pie chart and we have these different wedges, we want to know the measure of each of these angles. So let's start with this one. We'll go through it, and I know you'll get the hang of this as we get going. It wants the measure of angle CAB. Now, to identify the angle, start at this point. We're doing an angle, so we want to come into A, out to B. We want to know how big that angle is. Well, it says it's 20%. It's 20% of the circle. So to find percentages, what you do is you move the decimal 2 places to the left, making that 0.2, and you multiply it by the total of 360 degrees. So we're going to take 0.2 times 360 to find out how many of the 360 degrees are contained right there. And I find that that is a 72-degree angle. Okay, let's do the next one, BAF. So again, you want to kind of trace along so you make sure you have the right angle. You start at B. We want the angle that goes down A out to F. So now we're dealing with this purple wedge. It is 25% of that circle. So again, you move the decimal on your percent 2 places to the left, which gives us 0.25. 25% of the full circle is what it's taking up, and a full circle is 360, so we go 0.25 times 360, and we get our answer. That is a 90-degree angle. Let's move on. Angle FAE. Angle FAE. We get a new color here, so again, we're going to start F, down to A, out to E. We want the measure of that angle. If I look out here at its label, it's 30% of the circle. So we're going to follow exactly that same process. We move the decimal 2 places to the left to get 0.30, and we take 0.3 times the total degrees of 360 to find out how many of those degrees are contained in the romance category. 0.3 times 360 gives me 108 degrees. Next, we have angle EAD. So we want this angle from EAD, that opening right there, our dark blue wedge. It says is 5%. Again, you move the decimal 2 places to the left. Well, notice there's an empty space because 5 only had 1 digit. You just fill that in with a 0. So we want 5% or 0.05 of 360. And we get 18 degrees. So that wedge is 18 degrees. And we're down to our final number here. Our final angle, DAC, is our light blue wedge. Again, it says it's 20%. We've done a 20% before. It should come out the same. Again, you move the decimal 2 places to the left, which gives you 0.2. You multiply by the total degrees in a circle of 360, and you get 72 degrees. Okay, so we were able to find the measure of each of these angles. 72 and 72 here. One is 90 degrees, this one was 108, and this one was 18. Now when you total these, they should add up to be a total of 360. Because together they make the full circle, and if you total them, they are, in fact, 360 degrees. Okay, so the reason they pulled this question in is because they wanted to emphasize what a arc or a section of a circle is and how to find its measure. Again, an arc is just a section of a circle,